Hello, everybody. It is episode 3, Significance, in the 6-part series called Harmony and Hooves. We are going over the 6 basic needs that humans and horses have in common. So I just really want to take a moment to, first of all, thank you for following this series and for being a part of the journey. So let's go over the first 2 needs of these 6 basic needs. The first one was certainty. Let's backtrack for a minute. These 6 needs come in a specific order, because in order for us to move through the 6, each basic need has to be fulfilled in one way or another to create safety, security, comfort, courage to move through day-to-day life. That's common for both horse and human. So we have to meet those needs in the order. And of course, some are more important to others than how do I want to say that? We all have 1 or 2 of those needs that are extremely important to us to be fulfilled on a regular basis. However, we need to recognize that all 6 of these needs are needs that need to be met. I love this topic because it parallels the horse and humans' needs parallel one another, and I hadn't really realized that until I started thinking about sharing this topic with all of you. So the first need is certainty. And just to recap on what that is, certainty is knowing that we can count on things. We have a home. Horses live in pastures or stalls, paddocks. They live in a community, whether they are divided through fences or they get to share together in a pasture. We live in houses, and we have the certainty that we are going to have our basic needs met: food, shelter, clothing, warmth. I realize that not everybody has those, and that's a topic for another day. And horses need the certainty of knowing that they have a space to call their own, that they are safe in their environment, that they are going to have a routine where they get fed and they have water and they get out and get exercise. So before we can move on to number 2, which is variety, we have to make sure that those basic needs of certainty are being met, which takes our focus off of getting those needs met and when will they be fulfilled and will they always be there, so that we can open ourselves up to variety. And variety is, what are we going to do this weekend? What's going to happen at work? What kind of new hobbies do I want to take up? What are we going to have for dinner? Those are the variety in our lives. Let's mix up our routine. There's some people who really thrive on certainty and struggle with variety. Like those who really need a strong sense of certainty in their life struggle with change. Now that's true for horses as well. If they have had situations in their past where their basic needs of certainty were threatened or deficient, they want a routine. and they do not do well if things are mixed up. Their meal is late, their routine is disrupted, they go to different places for exercising, which is bringing variety in there. They don't do well. They need consistency. I know people in my life that they do not do well with change. So when they get variety into their life, it has to be carefully orchestrated, pushing them out of their comfort zone, which is what variety does. Has to be done in a way for both horse and human that it doesn't tip them into that panic zone. So the third one is significance. And before we can explore significance, we have to have certainty and variety, playing out in our life. Now, what does significance mean? It means that we feel valued. We feel like we are making a difference in other people's lives. That we matter, that we're important, that we have a voice. Not everybody likes to feel significance. It makes them extremely uncomfortable because often when you feel significant, you have some eyes on you, you have some attention on you, and some don't like that. Well, it's true for horses as well. Horses need to feel significant. And I think I don't know, I don't want to assume, but I often hear, and I have experienced, and I get phone calls actually all the time, about horses who are kind of forgotten. They're at a boarding facility, their person never comes out and sees them. They're in a pasture where it doesn't seem like they've got any engagement. They move from person to person to person because whatever reason, there's always a story behind that. But they're lacking the fulfillment of significance. They're kind of forgotten. And that happens a lot in people too, especially I think those of us who have had past trauma that has really stripped us of our personal right to be seen and to be heard and to be respected and to be valued. Not going to dig in a lot on my personal story, but I will share that I was raised in an environment where I was taught to believe that I was to be seen and not heard. And I literally would get punished for speaking up, for voicing my opinion, for asking questions. It was perceived as challenging authority and disrespectful. And so it robbed me of that basic need of feeling significant. So what that did to me, and it does to others, and it does to horses as well, is when we go out in public or when we're in a social gathering, we tend to shrink. It's been called the wallflower, or you'll see the horse on the edges of what's going on. You'll see for horses that have really been made to feel like they're insignificant, and that's by taking their voice and their choice and not meeting their first basic needs away from them. You will sometimes feel them, see them off in the corner with their face in the corner of the pasture or the corner of the shelter. When other horses come towards them, they will literally move away because they have been made to believe that they are insignificant. So significance is important for people and horses. How do we, one, meet our need of feeling significant around our horses? And then 2, how do we help our horses to feel significant? So let's go over the first one. This is a woman's group, varying ages, varying levels of horse experience. When we get to the barn, I keep my horses here at the property. There's some of us that keep our horses at our own places, but we go out to ranches, we go trail riding, we go to clinics and events. And when we get out in public with other peers, women who have horses, our ego will often kind of get a little overactive. And it will do this in one of 2 ways. If we're lacking confidence, we will falter to the side of feeling insignificant, comparing ourselves to everybody else around, our gear, our rigs, how we're dressed, what kind of gear would be tack, how our horses are behaving, and feeling as though we're being judged, as well as we're looking at everybody else, comparing ourselves to them. And that will trigger a sense of insignificance, feeling like I can't live up. I'm out of my realm. I'm over my head. And because our horses are our partners, and they know us, and they're sentient beings, they're energy masters, they can feel this disruption in our energy. And it will, if we are feeling insignificant, lacking confidence, judging others, or feeling as though we're being judged, we put off an energy that our horses feel, and it will make them uncomfortable, and they will mirror for us. It's not uncommon for us to get embarrassed or uncomfortable or be intimidated because we get to a new place. And if our horse doesn't have a lot of variety in their life, or we don't have a lot of variety in our relationship with our horse, we'll go to new places, and it will trigger those same kind of sensations within our horses. And so they will feel insecure because their certainty of being at home is disrupted. They're in variety, which they may not be used to, they may not do well. And if we as their leaders are not doing well within our own space, we feed off of each other, and so they will misbehave. I don't even want to say misbehave, that's not true. They will act in ways that they don't normally act in their own environment. So as their leaders, practicing in our own environment with them to help us feel significant and help them to feel significant. Now, how do we do that? Well, we honor what's going on in each of us. And as we're developing our relationship and our partnership, we make sure that each of us has a voice and we have a choice. And if one of us is not feeling confident about what's happening, or is actually way too far out of their certainty into their variety, which is taking them from their comfort zone into their panic zone, we as the leaders need to recognize that in them and honor that in them and pull back, pause, take some deep breaths. Think about what you're trying to achieve or what's going on around you and how you feel about it and how your horse is feeling about it. That's acknowledging significance of both beings in this relationship. And by stepping back and taking the pause, there's so much power in the pause. By taking a pause and taking some nice deep breaths, which puts us back into our bodies, back into being grounded, which helps our horse to feel grounded. And then asking ourselves, what can I do to help the two of us move forward in what we're trying to do, where we both feel seen and heard and honored? Significance is all about feeling like we matter, feeling like those around us, our horse with us with our horse, really truly cares about where we are in every given moment. So if we're struggling, don't try to bullshit your way through it. Your horse, you're undermining the trust in your horse. I promise you, I promise you, I promise you. Do not fake it till you make it. Your horse will call bullshit and will not trust you. Be honest. If you are in over your head, do not expect your horse to stick it out with you. Now, some of us have amazing horses, and we have spent a tremendous amount of time building on that relationship, and they will rise to the occasion for us, and that's because we have nurtured the significance in them, or somewhere in their life that has been nurtured. And when your significance is nurtured, that need is nurtured, it develops confidence. Confidence in yourself and confidence in your partner. We're talking horse and woman here. But if neither one of you can rise to that occasion of being grounded and present, pull back. Pull back. You don't have to prove anything to anybody except for your horse. At the end of a session, at the end of an experience, at the end of a clinic, I don't care what everybody else thinks about me. Now I strive to deliver value. I strive to help expand their awareness and understanding. I'm watching my two Mustang geldings fighting through the fence. Sorry. I care in that sense because I am a horsemanship mentor, and I am here to help broaden the knowledge, tools, skills, and understanding of horses and horsemanship and ourselves as we show up with them. So I do care about that. But the ones that I truly want to hear from on how I did is the horses. Because my mission in life is to make this a better world for horses. And the way that I choose to do that is by showing up for all of the other women in the world who love horses as much as I do, and share with them what I have learned over my lifetime and what I have learned over being completely committed for the past 24 years to being the best I could be for horses. So significance is a key ingredient to a successful relationship with our horses. And the way that horses feel significant in the partnership is by us showing up and being an inclusive leader, which means we lead our horses through the best abilities that we can. We set clear boundaries. We reward, we engage with them with positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement. There is so much Positive reinforcement is the only way to go, and negative reinforcement is bad. Negative reinforcement does not mean beating up on your horse and making them feel like shit for doing something wrong. That's not what negative reinforcement means. Negative reinforcement means make the right thing easy and the wrong thing difficult. To only apply positive reinforcement and not negative reinforcement, you are not being a leader for your horse. And when shit goes south, your horse is going to leave you. Because to not practice negative reinforcement means you are never going to pull back on those reins. You are never going to squeeze them forward. You are never going to put them in difficult situations. You're only going to live the unicorn fairy tale life and have a bag full of treats and reward them for everything they do right and never make them uncomfortable for the bad choices or the incorrect choices that they make. That does not make a horse feel significant. It might make your ego feel significant. It might fulfill that anthropomorphizing that horses get their feelings hurt if you apply negative reinforcement. That's not true. Watch horses play together as a herd, and there is equal doses of positive and negative reinforcement. And that's how each member in the herd feels significant, feels seen, and feels heard, and knows where they stand in the social dynamics. Part of the significance in our relationship with our horses involves personal growth and personal reflection. We're never going to get it right all the time. Our horses are never going to get it right all the time. When we do get it right, we celebrate. We celebrate with them. When we don't get it right, we sit with them and we reflect on what happened, and nobody's at fault. We just want to do better. When they're having an off day and they can't seem to partner up with us, they can't seem to get in rhythm with us, we can really, in a hurry, make them feel insignificant by just being hard on them and frustrated on them and pushing them, where we can make them feel significant by acknowledging, hey, you feel like you're having a kind of a bad day. And today's not the day to perfect flying lead changes or correct canter departures or our perfect 8 patterns. Today's not the day, because you aren't here completely for whatever reason. So let's do what I know you can do successfully with ease and grace. That's helping your horse to feel significant. It's the same thing for you. Horses give us so much joy and so much peace and so much comfort. For me anyway, they have the ability to make all of the stuff that's going on in the other areas of my life stand still while I'm out there with my horse. And so some days I'm not feeling significant. I'm not feeling at the top of my game, but I just want to be with them because they make me feel significant. They help me to feel connected and to put my worries at ease. So on days that I'm not feeling like I'm on my mark, it again is not the day to go out there and try and perfect something that we've been struggling with for a while. The ego will want to do, we're going to get this and we're going to get this right so that I can feel like at least I'm doing something right in my life. Got it? And the horse is like, wow, go away. I don't want anything to do with you. And who blames them, right? We don't even, when we're feeling like that, we don't even want to be with us. So why would our horse want to? So when you're having days where you aren't feeling significant, go spend some undemanding time with your horse. Go love on him. Go give him a body massage. Take him for a nice, peaceful walk. Saddle them up and go for a stroll with no agenda other than to just be with each other. That is incorporating all three of those first three basic needs. Certainty comes from the connection we have with one another. I am certain that my horses care about me, are bonded with me. I'm going to throw in the variety of not doing anything training related. I'm going to spend this time bonding with my horse. And by doing that, I bring in the variety. And I also help us both to feel significant. Through and through, we feel significant. So I touched on bonding and training. And in my program, Unbridled Freedom, year-long mentorship program, one of the things that I really teach is it's a holistic approach to horsemanship, which means we are focusing on the four aspects of each being: physical, mental, emotional, and that spiritual part of us, that essence of who I am, that makes you want to listen to me or not, that makes my horse want to connect with me or not. It nurtures those four quadrants, those four aspects in both horse and woman, because that creates homeostasis within. And within those four areas, we are focusing on the 6 human needs. But another area is that horse and how we engage with horses, the horse and human relationship, which is 50% training, 50% bonding. And when we are focused on the training and the bonding, in both of those, if we look at it as a circle, 50% training, 50% bonding, we need to make sure that it's equal. So one session may be 80% training and 20% bonding. And we make a note in our mind that our next session needs to be more equal. I am always striving to make sure that every engagement I have with my horse is 50% training, 50% bonding. And it flows back and forth. Training, bonding, training, bonding. I don't want to get too into that because that's a whole nother discussion. But within that training and bonding, and back to the topic of, okay, I show up, I'm not feeling significant. I'm not feeling like I got much going on. Come on, let's be honest. We all have days like that. And we want to be with our horses because they help us to feel more significant. And they help us feel certainty in our lives. And they give us a variety because we never know what they're going to be like when we show up. So I'm not going to train on that day. I'm not going to focus on the training part of the equation. I'm going to focus on the bonding and fulfilling those first 3 basic needs in both of us. I hope that this has been thought-provoking I hope that introducing you to these 6 basic needs that horses and women share together and how it dances through our relationship and how all of them need to be nurtured is going to expand your relationship with your horse. It's going to help you grow and help you to help them grow. I hope that that's what this series is doing. This episode has done. I would love to hear comments on what do you think? Are you like enjoying this series of Harmony and Hooves and the 6 basic needs? Do you have questions about it? Is these 3, certainty, variety, and significance, is there anything that you'd like to know more about? Because it doesn't have to be just 6 episodes. We can build on that if you guys give me feedback on what you want to know more of. I hope that moving forward, you will spend some time thinking, contemplating, playing with your needs for certainty, variety, and significance, and those of your horse's needs. When do you recognize, oh, does my horse need more certainty? Does he need more variety? Does he feel significant? Do I feel those needs being met? All right, everybody. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in to Unbridled Freedom. I appreciate you all. And next week will be our 4th episode. And that need that we'll be discussing is love and connection. So I would love to have you guys provide your feedback in the comments below on how are you applying, observing, exploring these 6 basic needs, or these first 3 of the 6 with you and your horse. All right, everybody. Thanks again. I'll see you next week.